I'm Maya, here with Mr. Palladino. He's the athletic director of our school, and today we're going to be talking about the Brewington versus Philadelphia case and how that's going to impact our school. So hi, how are you?
Good, how are you doing?
Okay, so what is this case?
So this is a case that came down from the PA Supreme Court earlier this year, basically stating that schools are liable if students run in the hallways and get hurt. There was a case in Philadelphia where a student was doing a relay race in a gym and hit the wall, the concrete wall, and had a concussion and was out for 2 weeks. So that pretty much defined going forward for school districts, increased liability. And so that came out probably like a month ago.
Mm-hmm. And how did that get all the way to the Pennsylvania Supreme Court?
Just the usual case of they sued the school district and it just went on appeal, I suppose, and went all the way up to the Supreme Court.
So what restrictions came from this case?
So the district, we're looking at not having our athletes or really any kids run at the direction of coaches or teachers in the hallways and the stairwells where they could get hurt, where the intended use of those places are not to run for activities like that. I know we're also looking at making sure all the walls are padded in the appropriate places in the gymnasiums and things of that nature.
Okay, so what circumstances make it safe to do certain things in our school?
I think you have to look at the intent of the structure, what it's used for. So that being said, our winter track team's been using the hallways for years, so this changes that discussion a little bit. And so now we have to find different places and ways for them to practice and train to make sure that they're safe.
So where are they going to practice now?
The last 2-3 weeks we've had them going out to a facility in King of Prussia that has a running track. It's a performance center. That was to finish out this season since it came toward the tail end of our season. Going into next year, we're going to be looking at facilities, places that we can use to make sure that they have the appropriate training facilities.
Okay, so what makes that place safe and not our school to practice?
Oh, so they have a running track there. They're just equipped for for that type of training. Our district on the grounds that is right now doesn't have a place per se for indoor track to train, an indoor track facility. We just have hallways and stairwells. And this just doesn't affect winter track. It affects all of our sports. No one can run in the hallways anymore, train in the hallways, run on the stairwells. So it definitely impacts winter track more than anyone per se, but it does affect everyone also.
And what about our actual gym?
Our gym's used. The problem is with scheduling with our gym, especially during the winter season. We have basketball in there, girls basketball, boys basketball. We will have wrestling matches in there. So it's a space that's really tight on use for most of the winter season.
Okay, and so for indoor track, how are they getting to this facility?
We're providing transportation to and from every day right now.
How much does that cost the district?
The cost of a bus per day, I think, is about $250 per day to do that.
And what about to rent the actual place?
To rent the facility, it costs us around $1,000 to rent it for 3 weeks to make sure we have a space to go.
And who actually pays for this?
The school district comes out the athletic department fund.
Okay. And what other sports are going to be impacted by this?
Well, it's really going to affect sports on a rainy day where some teams might have run in the hallways or stairwells before. They can't do that anymore. Off-season training. I'm sure you've seen some teams run the stairwells from time to time, especially in the athletic wing. That's not going to happen anymore. So it's going to have an all-around effect on everybody.
And they're all just going to be taken to other facilities?
No. They're going to have to find different ways to train, to supplement their training. It really just affects winter track, where in that case, that's the main part of their training, is running in the hallways. The other sports, running in the stairwells, it was to supplement other things. So they'll have to find other ways to do. And we'll continue that discussion on, do we need to bring in more equipment? Do we need to bring in treadmills? Do we need to bring in something for winter track and for all the sports to supplement that as well?
Okay. What are the consequences for not following these new restrictions?
The consequences for not following them? Well, we're going to follow them. So the consequences if they don't follow them. We'll be having follow-up meetings to explain why they need to follow them. But that said, our coaches and our athletes have been excellent in understanding why this had to come about, why we have to do it, and working together to make sure it's the best environment.
Right. How are other districts going about these restrictions?
At the present time, I'm not sure. I just know what Norristown is doing at this point. I'm sure as we go down the line a few months from now, as this case becomes maybe better known or their solicitors are giving them their opinion of it, we'll see a lot more schools in the boat that we are.
Right. Do you think this is going to help or hinder sports at our school?
I think we can turn it into a positive. We can make sure that we have a facility or some place for our athletes to go that's going to be better than running in a hallway. So I think in the long run, we'll be able to turn this into a positive.
All right. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, that's it. I think we've pretty much covered all of it.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you.
I'm Maya here with Mr. Palladino. We talked about the Brewington versus Philadelphia case. And if you have any questions, you can find his email on our school website.